Viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Merlin Santana was born March 14th, 1976 in New York. His parents were originally from the Dominican Republic, and they said that they moved here in order to give their children better lives, which they succeeded at because Merlin was extremely successful within the 90s and the early 2000s. He played on numerous of shows, including The Cosby Show, Moesha, and the list goes on. And I feel like if he was still alive today, he probably still would have been a great actor.
How'd you mean, young black guy?
It means conquering warriors.
Ooh, I surrender.
Merlin's first known role was actually on The Cosby Show, in which he played Stanley, which was Rudy's boyfriend. As time went on, he gained a more popular role, and he actually gained a role on The Steve Harvey Show, which he played a character by the name of Romeo. On this show, his character was one of the ditzy ones, the ones that didn't really seem like they knew too much, but he actually played the role quite well.
Okay, everybody, let me have my Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo, I think he means Lawrence.
Oh. Well, I gotta go get the rubber knife ready for the death scene. Wouldn't want St. Lawrence to get hurt.
Guest star on a lot of different shows, including Half and Half, and also in his younger years, he also starred on Sister Sister, in which he was confused about which twin was which. When the Steve Harvey Show eventually ended after his 6th season, he decided to focus more of his time on rapping because he had always said that that was his true passion. At this time, he also had a best friend by the name of Brandon Adam, who was also another childhood actor, and they were both living in California at the time. Sources say that the two were close, even closer than brothers. Imagine this, 2 young men living in California, living their best lives. Little did they know that their worlds were going to crash down extremely soon. One night while the two were at dinner, a young lady caught the eye of Merlin, and she had a friend, so they all decided to have dinner together. At the end of the dinner, Mercedes is what she called herself at the time, and Merlin decided to exchange numbers. That didn't end there, though. At the end of the night, Merlin and Mercedes actually had a one-night stand in which she was extremely excited, and over time, people close to Merlin started noticing that she became extremely attached extremely fast. She would call him all day, and she would text him all day, but Merlin wasn't feeling the same way about this young woman. But he didn't read too much into it, so over time he just started to continue living his life, going out with his friends, but little did he know his life would come crashing down. On the night of November 9th, Merlin and his best friend Brandon were leaving the home of one of their best friends. When they eventually got into the car, they noticed that there were some odd men standing on the streets, but that didn't stop there. They noticed that there were actually red flashing lights coming from the back of their van. It turns out that the red lights were coming from gunfire from 2 men standing in the middle of the street. The 2 men then ran off on foot. His friend then quickly drove away, but he noticed that Merlin had been hit and he was bleeding pretty badly. It turns out that there was actually a police officer nearby, but by the time they got to Merlin, it was already too late and he had already been pronounced dead at the scene. And so there it was, a childhood star gone way too soon. But everyone was so confused because they couldn't understand who would do this. Merlin hadn't gotten into any trouble throughout his entire life, and his mother described him to be one of the sweetest boys she had ever met. So people were honestly questioning, why would someone want him dead? The person that they needed to find was actually a lot closer than what they thought. It turns out that Monique, also known as Mercedes, was actually texting men periodically throughout the night, lying and said that Merlin had actually raped her. She became so upset with this man and got so caught up in her emotions that she actually cried rape. And the reason she got up and left so soon is because she knew what was coming next. Turns out, Mercedes' name wasn't the only thing that she lied about. It ended up being that she wasn't even her real age, and that she was a lot younger than what she said. So it turns out that his life was taken over one sick lie that could have easily been avoided. Merlin Santana had so much more life to live, and he died at the young age of 26 years old. Who knows where he would be today, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty far. It turns out that in the end, Monique actually lied about her age, and she was actually 15 at the time of the murder. Though Merlin Santana is no longer on Earth, His talent is still remembered through the shows that are still watched and respected to this day. We will always remember the young talent life that was taken too soon.
I'm out of here. Till next time, enjoy, y'all.